Good evening and welcome to Gunner Shot for this open house. And a lot of things are happening in the world. And today, what we will do is we'll cover each one of them a little. And I'm going to cover a lot of topics. And then, of course, I'm open to any questions you have, any issues you want to put up. No problems. So we'll start with the Gaza ceasefire. Well, the Gaza ceasefire has been declared and it has started as per many news reports. There's a live update from New York Times just about 15-20 minutes back. The ceasefire goes into effect. Okay, but then let's analyze this in a little, understand this in a little detail as to what's happening and what's happened and everything. There's a nice cartoon by Zahur. Who's Zahur? He's a cartoonist for Dawn. And Dawn feels, look at this. The truce has left who? The Palestinians or or whoever you feel wounded. Right? So this cartoon conveys a lot on the outcomes of this ceasefire or the outcomes of this whole drama which has happened from October year before last. So we'll touch on that also, but let's concentrate first on the ceasefire. Now the ceasefire is to go into effect in 3 phases. So what's phase 1? In phase 1, it's a 6-week ceasefire, okay, in which 33 hostages will be released. I believe there are about 100 odd hostages. Some are dead, some we don't know. But so far, 33 is what in the first 6 weeks. The first 3 are to be released later today or sometime. 3 ladies, right? And for exchange of these 33 hostages, Israeli forces will withdraw from all populated areas in Gaza. Okay? And then some number of Palestinian prisoners kept by Israel will be released. How many, we don't know. But they're saying, look, about 100 odd will be kept back. Aid will go into Gaza, humanitarian assistance and aid. I believe it has gone, and there's a lot of euphoria in Palestinians that it's gone. Naturally, after all, for about 15 months, they've been struggling. After the first 6 weeks, phase 2 will commence. Now, whatever is to happen in phase 2 will be negotiated during phase 1, the next 6 weeks. And what does it involve? It involves return of the remaining hostages who are all living. Okay. And in which case, in that period, all Israeli forces will withdraw from Gaza. So Gaza will be withdrawn by end of phase 2. Israel, not Gaza will be withdrawn. Israel will withdraw from Gaza by end of phase 2. So by end of phase 2, you will find Gaza back. And phase 3 is to be the final phase, where the returns of the bodies of all other hostages will be done, and then reconstruction of Gaza will commence. Now, this is a plan. Will it go into effect? We don't know. There's so many imponderables. Already there was a slight delay in commencement of phase 1. There were some hiccups. Anyone can break the ceasefire. Every day there are going to be reports of breaking ceasefire. Every day there are going to be accounts of, the other man breaking the ceasefire. So there's going to be a lot of narratives around. So the deal is not done. It has just started. Okay. And it will continue. And maybe later in the week, I'll do a show on Endgame Gaza where the whole thing is going. But let's do a preliminary analysis of what's happened in the past 15 months and how things have changed. how things have changed ever since, you know, Al Aqsa, the flood. If you remember this, this was the one which. What are the outcomes? Very clearly, as you can see from this cartoon, that too by a Pakistani. In the Pakistani journal, in Dawn, Pakistani leading newspaper, right? There's no doubt that the larger political victor is Israel. There's no doubt in my mind after 15 months. And peace remains elusive. The problem of Palestine doesn't get solved. Israel's problem doesn't get solved. But it has got itself some time. And it has got itself into a very dominant position in West Asia. Okay. That's the first major issue. The second major issue is Syria is in turmoil. When I spoke about Syria, if you remember, I said lot of peace or war or conflict in West Asia will hinge on Syria, and Syria is in turmoil. So the turmoil in Syria has consumed Hezbollah. Hezbollah has been severely degraded. Can it do anything? Obviously, it's not been doing anything. It's been canned. Okay. Hamas itself has been severely degraded. Nasrallah gone, Ismail Haniyeh gone, Sinwar gone. I believe there's some chap, one guy, a political activist of Hamas, who's well within in Israel's custody. Will Israel let him off? We don't know. But if I were that guy, I wouldn't get out of that custody of the Israeli jail, because the moment that fellow comes, Israel will bump him off. Then he's, open game. If he is a political prisoner, then his life is safe. So all these issues will come to fore. Okay, now the next major casualty in this entire 15 months has been Iran. Iran proxies are broken completely and its influence is diminished very severely. And Iran has come out of this whole story weakened. What will happen in Iran is to be seen, whether it will go formally with Russia, China, North Korea. That can be, seen, assessed, and all that. But at this point of time, Iran is, at this point of time, Iran's goose is cooked. Yeah, people will say it'll now go nuclear and all. Well, we will see. We'll talk of that as we go along. USA is in the saddle with, it's riding a horse, the victory horse, along with Israel. There's no doubt about it. Qatar, what Switzerland is to Europe and the rest of the world to keep money, Qatar is to this area. Qatar has got its fingers in all pockets. It's a deep negotiator. It's the common ground where everyone meets. Everyone wants to keep Qatar on its side, and Qatar keeps everyone on tenterhooks. I mean, this is a rare capability. I would suggest you see the video which I did on Qatar. Maybe one of these days I'll redo it. Okay, that is a video which I did when our sailors were given the death punishment. Self and General Dushyant Singh, we explained that to you. Look, nothing will happen, and nothing happened. Turkey has entered the fray in Syria. So now that's going to, at this point of time, Turkey is again riding a high horse. But will it continue? We don't know. Because sooner or later, Turkey, Qatar, Saudi and UAE will come into conflict with each other. It will not be open conflict, but influence games will continue. The Saudis and the Gulf countries have emerged on the top. Now they can think of pumping their oil to Europe. How does that affect everything? EU and most of the European states, which are still dependent on Russian energy systems, can now start looking at Saudi and Gulf energy. So EU gets a reprieve in this. Okay. And with the way the Muslim world is broken, EU also gets an opportunity to de radicalize its society. And you can't have grooming gangs kind of a story which is going on in Britain. And I think that moment we will see as we go along, because this rightist governments which are coming into place in EU and all these, they'll start doing something. So a certain amount of de-Islamization and de-radicalization will start. So to that extent, the complete Muslim world has to understand why did it side Palestine. The converse of that is also true. Palestine won't now get support from the Muslim world. They'll say, look, whatever we did, we supported you, everything says, look where we have landed. We are going to get hit. Okay? So that's going to be a problem. Okay, China has been marginalized. I mean, believe you me, China is completely marginalized in this whole business. If you remember, China was going around saying that they'd done the peace deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Then they were one-to-one with Syria. Xi Jinping sent his personal plane, Air China plane, to pick up Assad during the Asian Games out there. He wanted a big share in reconstruction of Syria and all that. Belt and Road, all gone. Iran wounded Chinese influence in the entire Middle East has taken a hit. Or for the first time, you are now seeing off the Somalian coast, a Chinese vessel has been hijacked. And as of now, it appears that ransom has been paid by the Chinese to the Somalian pirates to get their vessel back. I don't know the outcome, but there's a negotiation going on there. So their influences will be marginalized. And this famed Chinese Navy plan with their base at Djibouti has done nothing. So these are facts. Now the opportunity here is IMEC will recommence. What is IMEC? India Middle East Economic Corridor. Who are the countries involved? India, US, Saudi Arabia, UAE, EU, all many countries of EU, France, Germany, Italy, plus Israel. Because Israel will, the whole thing will go through Haifa. And already remember, Adani Ports operates Haifa. So my guess is that, the IMEC, which starts from Mumbai, goes to Jebel Ali, UAE, from there by road, overland up to Haifa, and from there to Greece under sea will recommence. So look at how things have gone. Of course, this comes to full circle because 15 months before this, we were looking at a formal kind of I wouldn't say sanction or treaty. I wouldn't say sanction. It's a formal treaty or an agreement or some kind of understanding between Saudis and Israelis to get this IMEC going. It's going to might restart, and especially with the Trump coming in and the Abraham Accords history. So this could just about restart. Okay. Next, that in essence is all about the Gaza ceasefire. We'll talk more of it as we go along later in the week and things like that. Now let's talk of the TikTok ban. Interesting. And this is very, very interesting. TikTok ban. Okay. What's happening in the TikTok ban? That's the question. First, the TikTok ban. TikTok is going dark tonight. And this is what New York Times has said. 19th was the date when, if we'll come, the Supreme Court of USA had said that after 19th, you cannot have TikTok going if it is not sold to someone, an American entity. That's not happened. So TikTok ban starts tonight. Virtually by tomorrow, it's dark. Okay. But there are a lot of repercussions. Let me go into the whole thing. Let's go into the saga. I mean, how did it start? It was first banned in 2020, mind you. By whom? Trump. Through an executive order. When? During COVID. When that ban came into effect, or rather the TikTok, the executive order came, it quoted India's TikTok ban. And India banned TikTok overnight. Next 2 days finished. Done. No other country has been able to do that. No other country has done that. Okay. Why did it do? Because there were concerns over data sharing. And what's written in that executive order? The United States must take aggressive action against the owners of TikTok to protect our national security. Why am I giving all this? We're going to come to the point where same Mr. Trump today says he's vowing to, support TikTok. At that time, Trump didn't mind if Microsoft or any other country acquired TikTok and run it. And run it as an American company. Okay. At that time, the executive order also barred app stores from hosting TikTok because you have to download TikTok from some app store. And the initial executive order gave 45 days deadline to comply with the whole story. But then TikTok appealed against all this and appealed and appealed and appealed. People say it's like something like a Houdini, which has been effectively going. Now evading this ban. Now both Republican and Democratic administrations, lawmakers, officials, everyone has had TikTok on its sites. They all have said that this Chinese ownership poses a national security risk. They have all quoted India. They said, if India can do it overnight, why can't we do it? They got the First Amendment Act and this and that, all that nonsense. It went into a tailspin. Now, 2023, Trump, TikTok, in 2023, TikTok eluded the ban after 3 years. Now, it went to the Supreme Court. Now, in 2024, the US Senate moved permanently to ban the app and to force ByteDance. ByteDance is the original company which owned TikTok, and that's headquartered in China. And they said they should divest from TikTok. So Biden signed a law, okay, that would ban TikTok unless the app's owner, ByteDance, sold it to a non-Chinese company. That sale has not materialized so far. There is no company which is ready to buy so far, and it's gone. From tomorrow, it's gone. And TikTok went and appealed against this in the Supreme Court. In this, a lot of people backed TikTok from America. Supreme Court upheld the law because Biden made it a law. Why am I going into all this? I'll just come to it. Okay, somewhere last year, Trump changed his stance. Why am I talking? Because Trump can change his stance. Today he can talk with India, tomorrow he can't talk with India, and that's the danger. Now he is moving to save TikTok. He says, I got a warm spot for TikTok. Why does he have a warm spot for TikTok? Because it was TikTok which enabled him to reach to a certain amount of demographics or rather younger people during his presidential campaign. Now, what's more, one of the guys who has got substantial stock value in shares of TikTok contributed to Trump, and he has helped Trump win. So Trump is now saying TikTok acha hai. But then, as Trump has kept saying this, Trump will become the president day after tomorrow. The deadline is tonight, 19th US time tomorrow. Supreme Court has given its ruling. No, you can't go against the Supreme Court. But Trump has spoken. Being Trump, he's spoken something. Now, this entire business of TikTok is in a gray area. Now, think about TikTok. TikTok is not giving up. TikTok is not giving up. China is also not giving up. This is very strange, isn't it? Now, there's an event which is being either held today or it was held yesterday, which was sponsored by TikTok, where a lot of conservative influencers were there. And they're a mega event. TikTok is paying for it. And Stephen Chu, or whatever that fellow's name is, who's the MD and CEO of TikTok, he's attending Trump's inauguration along with presidents and family members and all that. So this is the story which is on. Okay. What has the court said actually? Let's understand what the court has said on TikTok. Court has said there is no doubt that for more than 170 Americans, TikTok offers a distinctive and expansive outlet for expression, means of engagement, and a source of community. So they've acknowledged it's a good fun machine, fun app. But they say that Congress has determined that divestiture is necessary to address its well-supported national security concerns regarding TikTok's data collection practices and relationship with a foreign adversary. So the Congress legally has collected data which shows that TikTok collects data from America and gives it to China. And this has been proven in a court of law. And the court has upheld this. This is the legal status. Forget the legal status. We know that anything owned in China or by Chinese is subject to the government. You can't stop anything. It will go. Okay, this is the court's opinion. Okay. What is the status otherwise? Internationally. 2 weeks after Galwan, we banned it. In fact, we banned it with other 59 apps and then made it more. We know that's an old story, but we are not allowed TikTok to come in. You do find TikTok videos still being circulated in WhatsApp groups and all that. But there's no app from which you can download. Okay. You can't upload your videos into TikTok from India. So India has taken resolute action. This is something which many people don't understand. Just think. Here is America. For the past 4 years, it's trying to put TikTok out of the system. TikTok has used American law, American influencers, bribed them, and made sure that it survives. Today, after the ban has come into effect, tonight, it will come into effect. And already the reporters said it has gone dark, or that app is not available, TikTok is still hopeful of reviving it. ये है अमेरिका. उसके ऊपर a lot of questions. Why? That is why I've taken this TikTok thing up. All these questions will come up a little later. Many countries have, restricted access to TikTok, saying that look, it's security threats and all that. March 2023, 1.5 years back, or nearly 2 years back, Biden has said that all government agencies must delete TikTok. If you are a government servant, you can't use TikTok in USA. And many countries have followed this diktat internally. UK, Denmark, Canada, New Zealand, EU, they've also imposed similar restrictions where, if you are in the government and you are communicating on behalf of the government with an official this thing, you have to delete TikTok and not use it. That's the status. So India is complete. Rest of the world, many countries are partial, but many countries it's still there. Those who are under the Chinese influence, it's still there. They couldn't care a damn if China takes their data or not. Why does TikTok and China want all this data? I mean, let me give you a heads up because I'll talk about this some other day. AI. Apart from the security part and cyber and all that, AI needs data. Constant generation of data. As of today, the complete data of the internet has been scuppered by all the AI systems. Nothing left. So whoever can generate data will get better AI. And apart from money and things like that. So there are many angles to this whole story. Let's talk of ownership or understand what this ownership is all about. Now, ByteDance, which is TikTok's parent company, it has taken the refuge, says, look, more than 50% of the ownership is by global investors. If they're right, 50% global investors, including that Republican who supported Trump, and Trump has been supported by them. And they say that Chinese government doesn't have any direct or indirect ownership or stake in TikTok or ByteDance. But ByteDance is headquartered in China. So any country, any organization or firm which is headquartered in China, by Chinese law, cannot give away data. Or rather, cannot withhold data. Sorry, that's my mistake. Cannot withhold data. So whatever the PRC wants, it will take. Now, TikTok's defense is that the Chinese government has no role in the company and that it has spent billions of dollars to address US concerns. Look, we'll take care. Your security is not at stake. That's what they've been trying to prove. But the Senate and the Congress has said no. Like I said earlier, ByteDance is headquartered in Beijing and it is subject to China's control. There's no doubt about it. Look, as per reports, China's government has a golden share in ByteDance and it has veto powers in the company, which is not natural. If Xi Jinping ऐसे उंगली नचाएगा, तो ByteDance chap will also run up and down. So all this subterfuge has been going on and America, to be very clear, has been such a foolish nation that आज तक China ने उसको नचाया है. China has made US dance, and all this while it has been sucking information away. Okay, right. Now, what's the effect on others? Who are the others who will be affected? By this. Oracle, Amazon Web Services, Akamai Technologies, App, stores like Apple and Google. All these are involved with TikTok. How? Oracle is the server provider. Amazon Web Services holds the data in their data banks. Akamai Technology is a content delivery company. Apple and Google put it in their app stores. This whole machine is well oiled. But the thing is, now what I'm going to say is significant when I talk about the next thing. All these companies, if they violate this order, I mean, TikTok can still continue with its story. But the fact is, it needs Oracle, Amazon Web Services, Akamai Technologies, Apple and Google and all these to ensure it comes on your mobile and you can use it. They will not run foul of their own law. Why? The penalty they face is $5,000 per user who can access this app. And TikTok has 170 million users. So imagine the liability these 4 or 5 companies will face at $5,000 per user if this app is available by tomorrow. Why will these people do? They'll say sorry. Okay. So this is the implication of violating that ban. Okay, आगे बढ़ेंगे. ये देखो. Both these gentlemen have discussed TikTok. They spoke 3 days back and said how to retain TikTok. Donald Trump and Xi Jinping discussed TikTok before the US Supreme Court handed down its ruling, upholding a law that would ban the social media platform in the country if it is not sold to a non-Chinese buyer. I mean, that's the thing, that it has to be sold to a non-Chinese buyer. An American buyer, basically. And Trump and Xi Jinping have spoken about it. International geopolitics, strange bedfellows, interests. Whose interest is being served where? Okay. This has come from Guancha today. The Chinese media, in fact, it's not only this, even South China Morning Post, it says Trump will give a 90-day grace period, or rather a 90-day extension. How we can give, we don't know. Okay, what has Trump said? Or let me analyze this. Okay, this ban without selling, if it is not sold, there's a ban. If it is sold, there's no ban on TikTok. Sold to American company. If TikTok becomes an American company, there's no ban. Now, this is the thing which has been passed by Biden administration. It allows extension. There is scope for extension, provided the way to divest TikTok and convert it to American company has been determined, or the way is laid out, and significant progress is made in that, and all the binding legal issues are resolved. So if it is being sold, the way is clear, who's to buy, how it is to buy, what are the legal issues, everything. If all that is clear, extension can be given. Now, Trump has to prove to the Congress that all these 3 conditions are met. Then he can give a 90-day extension. This is a legal thing. Otherwise, he can't do. So far, Trump has not explained to the US media whether he will extend it or not and all that. This reporting is in Chinese media. not in US media. So, what has Trump said? The Supreme Court's ruling is expected and everyone must respect it. So, he is also worried. He can't pass an order which is against the Supreme Court ruling. That order will be null and void, a presidential order. And he can't do it immediately on assumption. Yeah, 20th he becomes a president and 21st he passes an order. He'll look like a fool. My decision on TikTok will be made in the near future. But I must have time to evaluate the position. Please look forward to it. उसने भी गाजर लटका दिया. He's hung a carrot. So that is where the TikTok ban is. And then Trump wants to visit China now, as per some report which has come out. Within the first 100 days, he says, I'll go to China and speak to Xi Jinping. So what's afoot? Here is the president of the USA who bans this app and later changes his stance. In the period of this ban, or rather in the intervening period, it is proven that their data has been siphoned off to China and it's a cyber security risk. The Supreme Court says ban it. This man is still at it and he wants now to go to China. There is a danger in this whole story, which is coming out in the media. And this is where we need to be careful. This is not the first time. Even, when the election was to take place, or just after the election took place and the counting was on and all that, or just after that also, I think they have spoken to each other on certain issues. Now he wants to go there. He's spoken on TikTok. So there's a one-to-one going on between China and USA. Whether they want to get into a G2 mechanism or not, or whatever, that's a later day story. But there's a one-to-one going on there. We don't know the underlying story of this one-to-one thing going on. So that puts India on a limb. Can you trust Trump tomorrow? Okay. Then the next thing is that who can trust Trump? Trump will act is Trump acting as per American interests or his interests? We don't know. How this will go on, we don't know. Is he doing it for American interests or American global influence or whatever? There's a question mark. So we are in for, interesting times. We need to see. That is why 23rd join us. We're going to have some people talk about Trump. In fact, tomorrow we'll talk with Brigadier Arun Saigal and I'll have a few discussions on the Trump presidency and what it means for India. But this TikTok episode itself gives you a precursor to what you can't trust Trump. You can't rely on Trump. Whether you trust him or not, you can't rely on. And we have a lot of problems. Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nepal, around. I mean, the fact that he's going to put tariffs on us is a foregone conclusion. That's a different story. Immigration, a lot of things, and I'll talk of it. And China is using all these points. Why am I saying it? China has already started some kind of a indirect approach towards us. And that indirect approach, it's a conflict. No more direct, it's indirect. I'll talk of it maybe later in the week, not far, later in the week. It's some kind of a trade war, all that, we'll talk. There's no hurry. Because we are getting into interesting times. So that much for TikTok. Okay. Now let's talk of the space docking experiment which India did. I think it was Fantastic, right? So let's see what happened and then go. This happened on end of last year.
1-0 plus 5 seconds. Lift off normal.
That's a marvelous
Auto track
liftoff of
event
PSLV
GPay tracking
C60 Spadex mission on the go.
plus 15
Fleet
seconds.
PSLV Corellon vehicles
Auto tracking.
saluted against the night sky, a beautiful sight to behold.
जी हाँ, अभी आपने देखा सफलतापूर्ण उत्थापन पीएसएलवी C60 रॉकेट का रात को रोशन करता हुआ पीएसएलवी C60 अपने उद्देश्य कक्षा की ओर ट्रैकिंग सभी तंत्र सामान्य निष्पादन करते हुए रेंज ऑपरेशन डायरेक्टर ने इसकी पुष्टि की है। प्रथम चरण का निष्पादन पूरी तरह सामान्य है।
Right. What is this all about? This PSLV carried two more satellites, and these two satellites did docking. Okay, so we'll see the docking. This was completed, right? We all know. So this was the two satellites which docked. Okay. Okay, so they docked. So what's so special about it? Now, as per the original plan, they were to do this docking on 7th. And everyone in the world was watching about how will this docking experiment be successful or not. Why is docking important? Because it would have made India the fourth country which can do docking. Of course, we are now the fourth country which can do docking in space. Now, this is the precursor for a manned space mission. You want to have a space station up there, you need to have this capability to dock. Because the space station will be there. You can send astronauts up. They can go. If you do docking, through the docking thing, you can get in and do everything and come back. And man that. Docking is important for a mission to the moon. We've done the Vikram lander and we've done Chandrayaan 2 where it went and landed. But what if you want to get samples from the moon? You have to get that back and re-dock back with your systems. So space docking is important. Now, in the course of this experiment, on the first time there was some problem, they didn't dock. Second day, or 2 days later, or 9th, they tried it again. And this time, they initially both these satellites were about a couple of kilometers apart. Then they were brought down to about 300 meters, then brought down to 3 meters. 3 meters. And some problem happened and they were taken apart. And 24 hours later, they overcame the problems, did all their check, and the docking took place. Very important. The fact that for good time, both these satellites, right, the tracker and the docker, the target and the docker, whatever they were called, both these satellites were just moving 3 meters apart from each other. Gives you co-orbital capability. What is co-orbital capability? It is the capability of putting your satellite next to some other satellite and continue it in its orbit together. How will that help you? So if there's an enemy satellite, you can knock it off. Or you can capture it. Or you can take its data. Alternately, this co-orbital capability gives you the capability of going and repairing or maintaining your satellite. People have not understood this, but this is a tremendous capability which we have shown to the world. A lot of people have not understood this, and you have to see it against what all Israel has been able to achieve. See, look at the milestones which Israel has been able to achieve. Chandrayaan 1, Mars orbiter mission, Mangalyaan. We were one of the few countries who have a Mars mission. Again, one of the four. Then you did Chandrayaan 2. Then you have Gaganyaan, which is a manned mission. Then we put a reusable launch vehicle. We have tried it out, and of course the Spadex. Major milestones. Okay. Now you're going to be a space power, and I'll talk of space power when I talk of AI. Why? You need energy, and it is said that anyone who has a major space program is a future superpower. And only 4 countries, like I told you, have this capability. Of course, Europeans and Japanese are also there in some form. But their own individual, like we have our own individual space program, Russia, USA, China, and India. It is some capability. We need to be confident of what we are doing. And we need to understand that you have to do what you want for your system and not ape China. Okay. Now, talking of China, what has Chinese said? Again, I've taken it from Guancha, which is their vernacular Chinese media, and what they have said. Okay. That's important. What they have said. Let me see. Let me show you that better. Okay. What their headline? Historical movement. India become the 4th country to achieve space docking after China, USA, and Russia. Look, this is your adversary talking. And he's gone to describe what all. But the interesting thing came when I read the comments. And these comments, I've just, they were all in Chinese. I've just transcribed them into English. And I've just reproduced them. I'll read it out. You'll get the drift of what they're talking. First of all, the progress of the third brother, so we are the third brother, okay, is generally exaggerated as per them, okay, or even seriously exaggerated. Like we feel they exaggerate everything. Now they also feel the same thing. But the progress itself exists and should not be taken lightly. Understood? He says, "Bhai, ye to hua hai. How can you take it lightly?" And then he says, another guy says, although my heart is sore, I still have to admit their great victory. Acknowledgement from your enemy is very important. He says, what is important that the two guys means the 2 satellites, are only about 250 kilograms for docking. China, US, and Russia are all big guys weighing several tons. Big guys means their space capsules have been weighing up to tons. The bigger the better the target, the easier it seems. I mean, this is their perception. Ho, ho, ho. If India wants to take the lead, it will lead China, US, and Russia. He says India is now capable of taking the lead. That's their worry. Anyway, the miniaturization of atomic bombs is advanced. Obediently, it was a solve. So, I'll show you the next one and then I'll explain to you. What I say is, another guy, this kind of small quantity docking and the docking of the space station are basically 2 different things. Not to mention the autonomous docking in the lunar orbit. It's all done autonomously. And it still flew in orbit for more than half a month because it's now 17 days. 31st December it was launched. In fact, it's 19 days. And the docking failed 4 or 5 times before succeeding. This is their analysis. Technically speaking, the docking of small quality is more difficult. Okay. This is just about 200 kg each. He says this is more difficult. It is miniaturization, robotics, autonomous docking. China's space station weighs 8 tons with large mass and large inertia, while India's small satellite is only 220 kg – with a little external force and great disturbance. So you see the impact of what Spadex has done. We keep talking nonsense. I'm sure some of our thinkers or people will say, oh, you should copy China. You don't have to copy China. That's what I keep telling everyone. Okay. And look at this comment. I'll read it out. Or rather, I'll make it full so that you people also can read it along with what I've said. India must always be contained and should not be careless. The reason why India vigorously develops aerospace technology is that it wants to exchange aerospace technology for military technology from the West. So you have this technology, you can trade. Once India's military rises, it will invade the Himalayas, China's territory. They feel Himalayas is China's territory because this is the source of China India river. Whoever controls the water source can strangle the other's dead hole. It's a must win place for China and India. Now, China's control is friendly to India. But once India controls and cuts off China's water source, China will face a huge crisis. Treating each other with benevolence and righteousness does not mean that the other party also understands what benevolence, justice, courtesy, wisdom, and trust are. Maybe our benevolence is just a manifestation of cowardice in the eyes of the other party. In 1962, we retreated 20 kilometers of troops. India is not continuing to encroach on our territory. Don't have the fancy of vegetarianizing about jackals, tigers, and leopards. In order to avoid the consequences, we must establish the containment of India as a long-term, unswerving national policy. Thank you. So this fellow has conveyed many things to many people. He's conveyed internally that India cannot be trusted and that we need to contain India. Okay. He's also conveyed to whoever, mostly to the internal people, that China is benevolent and India is not. And in China withdrew 20 kilometers in 62 on its own. But don't expect India to do anything. When India becomes a military power, which it will in due course of time, based on this trade of technology, it will invade Himalayas. He's also said we control their water, so today they are behaving. Once they control their own water, and if we retake Tibet, that's what he's talking of. Himalayas is Tibet. We retake Himalayas and Tibet, and we control their water, they're going to have problem. Conveyed lot in this comment, and all this comments comes from Spadex. Okay, so you have to understand what Spadex has done, space docking experiment, right? And then this also comes that we launched 3 ships, a submarine included. So this is also covered. Same time, same day. Now all this has an effect. Don't think China is not worried about us. It's terribly worried about us. And I'll discuss what they've started doing because they've gone back now from the LAC. It's not as if they're not going to come back, but they'll come back differently. And they've started it. I'll talk of it later. I call it the strategy of indirect approach, and I'll discuss it in detail. So, what we've done over the past 20 days, we put the 2 satellites in orbit. PSLV very successfully launched. Tried docking, didn't happen. Retried, didn't happen. Third time lucky, everything happened. Co-orbital launch, everything. Miniature launch. We've been able to miniaturize and robotize. Autonomous. China has taken note. Time we realize our own strength. The fourth subject for today. I'm going to take time and we'll take all your questions, not to worry. What is this? This is the picture from Dawn, which I took out today. I was going through and this came out. Perilous passage out of Pakistan. This is a story of illegal immigrants who are leaving Pakistan. Okay. Now, what happened? Off the western coast of Africa, Western Sahara, one boat capsized and 44 Pakistanis who are there, illegal immigrants, died. Now, this is the third such incident in the recent times. In December 24, 40 people died somewhere near Greece. And before that, 262 people died in 23. There's a recurring occurrence, mostly Pakistanis. The bulk of the people who have gone illegally out are, or rather who have died, are Pakistanis. And we know it's established fact that Pakistanis are leaving their country. That the country, no one has faith in their country and they're looking for greener pastures outside. That's fine. But why am I talking of all this? I'm talking because there's a nice survey which I came across through Pakistani media as to what the story behind this whole story, why it's happening. I thought I'll share it with you. Matter of interest. And it tells you the true state of Pakistan. Right. Now, Pakistani illegal migration happens largely to the Gulf. Okay. But to the next destination is Europe. Illegal. I believe in Europe there are about 1 million Pakistanis. And this has surged since 23. Why 23? I don't know. But I suppose it's to do with the internal condition of Pakistan, political, economic, and all that uncertainties we know. Economic going down, no future. So they'll go. And it's only from 23 that people have gone and died. Before that also people might have died, it's not come out. What's interesting is the majority of these people who are running away are from Punjab. They go through North Africa, Libya, Egypt, all that. And then they cross the Mediterranean Sea or the Atlantic, Western Sahara, and through the Atlantic they reach Europe. And they have a nice network today of human smuggling and trafficking from Pakistan to Europe. There are anything between 6 lakhs to 8 lakhs irregular migrants going out. Not all go to Europe. Most of them go to Gulf. And all over. See the routes they follow. Some go through Afghanistan, all go through Iran, Turkey, or Europe, or Iran, Iraq, Syria, Africa, Egypt. Some take flights from to Libya, and then go by road across Libya and Egypt and across Tunisia and all. And from Western Sahara they go. Desperate. So many routes and so much people being smuggled out, trafficked out. How many people have been missing or found dead in the Mediterranean thing? This is it. And this is from Dawn. It is not from my imagination. This is Dawn data. Every year about 3,000. This is only what is reported. Right? Okay. Now, what are the age groups who go? Most of them are from 19 to 44. Max 25 to 35. All hatta-katta people. Okay? So, there was a survey carried out of all these migrants who've gone all around the countryside, wherever they've gone. I mean, all over the world. And people said, look, Was your income sufficient? Most of them said no. Only 11% said we had sufficient income, that only for myself, not for the family. The rest all are people who say we don't have enough income in Pakistan. Just think 8 lakhs people leaving. What will be the halat within Pakistan? Okay. Do they have debt after before migration? Sure, they have a lot of debt. And they use this debt to finance their migration. That's also there in this graph. Have a look at it in peace after. Okay. 20%, nearly 19% of people who migrate illegally, out of 20% of them are second timers. First time they failed, second timers. This is like cracking the UPSC exam or the IAS exam. Dubara tisra baar. And 11% of those who have migrated have been internally displaced in Pakistan. Why have they been internally displaced in Pakistan? Either due to floods or terrorism or counter-terrorism operations. So once a chap is displaced from his hometown or wherever he is, he's got no future. So he'll go. Okay. 94% have said we have had problems, not sufficient income, unemployed, lack of hope, personal security threat, financial problems, all these. Okay. At least 6 months before leaving Pakistan, they've had these problems. 94%. And then they have secondary problems, lack of hope. I don't see a future in my country. More than 40% feel that, 40%, just imagine 40% of Pakistani feel they don't have a future in their country and they're running away. Okay. Yeah, 80% of their people on the left side, that bar which you see, 80% of those who have gone have been supported by their family to go. कि भाई बेटा तुम जाओ, कुछ भी करो, हमें यहाँ पैसा ले आओ. Okay, 90% have got financial support from their families. Whatever, however, the family could be in debt and whatever they've sent there, you're able-bodied, go and make your fortune somewhere and help us out. This is a proper survey of people who have reached the other end. Okay. When they reach the other end, what do they need? They need income, which they don't have. They need health, which they don't get. And many people want to come back, so they want to generate money to get back. These are the hard realities of illegal migration from Pakistan. And 41% of them have debt there, not here, there. They've raised debt there. Of the people who have gone, they've fallen into debt. And that debt could be about 2,000, 3,000 euros. And they're not able to repay back. Many people want to return back after going there. Just think of the danger going 20,000 kilometers or 10,000 kilometers by boat, by vehicle, whatever, by walk. People have walked for 48 to 60, 72 hours across in inhuman conditions without food to reach the other end. And then you say, I want to go back. Taken debt. Just think of what suffering is there at the bottom in Pakistan. We all say Pakistan people are suffering. I just thought I'll give you the numbers behind that suffering. You have to understand this. Only 36% want to stay. Others all want to go back to Pakistan or some other place and all that after reaching the other side. So only 1/3 can remain. The rest are all in. Why does a chap want to go somewhere else or return back or anything? There's no prospects there. And this will increase. This will increase now. This will increase because Europe is now going into a slump. They don't have money. Maybe 2 years back they could accommodate all these fools. No more. So there's going to be a problem where all these Pakistanis will get deported. And it's going to be a humanitarian problem, whichever way you look at it. So this is it. I just thought I'll tell you in the end this story about Pakistan and its problems. So we've covered 4 issues. We've covered Gaza, TikTok ban, Spadex, and Pakistanis. Illegal migration. So with this, what I'll do is I'll take all your questions now, right? At least one question per head I'll take. Okay. And right. At the outset, I must thank General Rajiv Narayanan, who's become a YouTube member, or rather, he's renewed his membership. So grateful to you, General Narayanan, and honored. So I'd request all of you, those who are watching this, who are seeing it for the first time, kindly consider becoming members or subscribing to Ghana Shot. And definitely, if you like this today's open house, do press the like button. Don't forget doing that, because you have to support Ghana Shot. Otherwise, well, I'll have to just pack up one of these days. Okay, so that's how it is. And a person like General Rajiv Narayanan becoming a YouTube member of Ghana Shot makes me a lot happy. Yeah, isn't the cartoon obvious? The whole narrative has been a victimhood. I agree with you completely. There's no victimhood at all out there. It's a narrative. Yesterday only we spoke of narratives. Looks like all players in the drama wanted an intermission for story to lead to a climax. I agree with you. It's not an intermission. I think there's an exhaustion. No one is interested today. When one is very clear, I don't think the Palestinians are going to get a good deal at the end of the day. Why they'll not get a good deal is because everyone has lost. Whoever has helped Palestinians have lost. They'll say, "यार इनको क्या हमने support किया है?" So there's a problem. Given that India has good research base and Pakistan has proven production capability for fighters, can they not both join hands to develop a fighter jointly and fight against each other with the common fighter which you made? Gutsy, have some sense. And Pakistan doesn't have proven production capability. I think don't live in a fool's world. Okay, we have far better production capability than them. Yeah, good evening, sir. All the way from Teju. Mountains atop are snow covered and the valley misses you. Yeah, I agree with you, Harshal. Okay. The prisoners that get released would be in the ratio of 1:30. Yeah, that's okay. That's part of their thing. Because let us see how it goes. I will not preempt the thing. Like I said, I'll get someone who understands this much better than I do, and we'll get them to talk. Not that I don't know, but we know what Israel is going to do, and Israel is not going to let this go easily. It's a hard-fought victory for them. They're not going to let it go easily. Sir was thinking of 71 war again to learn some lessons from history. What do you reckon could have been the reason Mrs. Gandhi did not negotiate for POK for the 93,000, just trying to find logic? Well, that was the times. She signed a deal in which the Shimla agreement, where she felt that she will get peace for Kashmir. And you must understand, at that time, neither India nor Pakistan were in such a strong state that they could politically close a deal. That's the best they could get at that point of time. So that's it. There's no point in now looking back and say, why didn't you do that? That's the way I look at it. Please understand this. You have to look forward there. Some point. In your opinion, is a deal a good one or a terrible one for Israel? I think for Israel it's good. And I feel two-state solution will not work. It will not work. It's out of the equation. No one talks of it now. It'll be like us and Pak. It is always like that. Endless cross-border terror from jihadi state might not happen. And we'll talk of this again in greater detail. I'm going to have a program called End State Gaza very soon with someone who knows this situation well. It would appear that TikTok episode is a classic example of Chinese lawfare at its finer best. Whether the Americans are able to throw them out remains to be seen. Your views? I agree on the first part. China has played a very smart hand. But you have to give it to the Americans. Finally, after 4 years, they've been able to get around their own problems. And now I think that ban is final. If TikTok has to survive, it has to be sold. If it is not sold, it will not survive in America. As simple as that. It has to be sold to an American company. So maybe Trump wants to go and meet Xi Jinping and tell him, look, you want TikTok to survive? Get it here. And it has to be under American law, not under Chinese law. But my question is, America is so porous. America can be played for lawfare. Why didn't they do for us? Just think what we have done for TikTok. That's the point. Will be going for my third SSB sometime. Taken up running, boxing. Very good. All the best. As you get points for, don't worry. You just do what you have to do. Do whatever you do in SSB. Just be natural. And my best wishes are with you. You'll get through. Okay. Lage raho. Yeah. Was pondering about Israel deal all about ME and Asia. We can see Islam and democracy are untenable. Latest example being Bangladesh. This comes from an innate superiority complex. All are kafir. It's not that way. But generally, you'll see the Muslim world doesn't respect democracy. Okay, Islam doesn't respect democracy. But at the same time, look at Indonesia. Indonesia is a democracy. Malaysia is a democracy. You can't, paint the same brush. But definitely, most of the West Asian countries, which are Muslim by nature, have always been traditionally autocratic. Okay. So that's the thing. You can't, but generally the tendency in Islamic countries is to be authoritarian or monarchies. Yeah, it looks like India is trying to balance both US and China, but it's facing obstacles. However, I noticed despite being broken by Ukraine war, Russia's geopolitical influence is growing in the world. Do you agree? Chirantan, I don't agree with you completely. We are not trying to balance between China and Russia, US. We are very clear which side our bread is buttered. Why we have taken a stance the way we have in the recent past is there is a bit of instability in the India US relationship, especially in the last year of Biden's presidency. And we are not sure of which ways the Trump cards will fall. So that is why we are trying to do this position from where you still have a fallback option. Russia's geographical influence is in doubt because Russia is one of the major losers in the Syrian, fall of Syria. That Tartus base is closed; it's gone to Benghazi. So they've lost a lot of influence. So let us see how things move because it's a point of view also. But I think we are in for interesting times. Are the wages of democracy so high that all proponents of it are willing to risk national security? I think so. The wages of democracy, it's the way you look at it. And it's not the wages of democracy, it's a concept of democracy and the concept of capitalist democracy, which is as prevalent in US, uh, that they're been toying with this business of national security. Europe, India are examples of democracy being exploited in minority and Sharia demand as majority. What is the real? I think we just have to be normal, good India. Be happy with it and we'll be okay. Don't worry too much about it. As Indian Army using some robot dogs, I can't understand where it will be used. I mean, drones can do the same job better and faster. It's a fad. Everyone shows those robot dogs, so we also shown it. End of story. Should India go for a 36 F-35 as Pakistan is already in the process of inducting? No, Pakistan is not in the process of inducting fifth generation fighter. They just started talking, so don't worry about it. Whether we should go for the F-35 or not, just wait. Let the air chief do his job. Yeah? He is the chief of air staff. He's being paid to do it, so he let him do it. Okay, I saw a lot of American videos about how China is amazing and how everyone owns home, groceries are cheap. Well, Antara, it's like this. They are doing all this, but that is because there is an element within America which is doing all this. It's part of Chinese three warfare strategy, public opinion building. Okay. And there are a lot of Chinese American who still have their loyalty with China. And that's the one who are doing it. Okay. It's part of China's public propaganda and public opinion shaping. So, but America knows how to get out of this. Okay. Israel dependency on USA led to a horrible deal in Gaza war. India is relying heavily on American engines and drones. Why are we walking into a trap? I think you have a different way. I don't know whether you're an Indian also. And I have a feeling that you are trying to come and pose as an Indian. So I'll not answer this question. Can attacks be used as coastal gun for coastal defense? Of course. Very disappointing of Trump to kowtow to China. Very disappointing. Yeah, you got it. We got the best of brains, but we are still lagging behind in R&D. Why? Because we don't have the best of structures. We don't have the best of financing. That is why I did this program with General Raj Shukla. Unfortunately, not many people saw it. People are not interested. That's the thing. When you give solutions, people are not interested. I am disappointed. Okay, but I still am at it because I am the old type, lage raho munna bhai type. I'll not give up. See, the problem, Lata, is people want cut and paste solutions. I can talk, oh, अभी हो जाएगा, ये हो जाएगा, उसको गाली दे दो, ऑपोजिशन को गाली दे दो, बीजेपी का झंडा खड़ा कर दो, या कल माओवादी उनका झंडा कर दो, तो I'll get a lot of people to watch my channel. हम वो नहीं करेंगे, सच बोलेंगे. सच ये है कि इस मामले में our government has let us down. Period. Now you can say it is not Modi, it is Rajnath Singh. You can say Rajnath Singh nahi hai, Defense Secretary nahi hai, it is Secretary DRDO. ये भी नहीं है, it is NSA. But the problem is our government. So why we need certificates from enemies? It's not, we don't need certificates from the enemies. We need to know what that fellow is thinking. Please understand that. We should know what he is thinking. उसका सोच क्या है हर वक्त पता होना चाहिए. तुम्हारा दुश्मन का सोच के साथ उसको हराना चाहिए. Thanks for projecting our achievements in authentic terms. It was never done before. Yeah, we need to. Why should we not be proud of what we have achieved? Uh, I believe in that. Is it true PRC took 32-kilometer land? It is not true. Okay, RRHH. Yeah, I think you will talk of AI. I'll do a thing on AI. A lot of interesting, details are coming about AI, and I have enough material. I'm not getting the time, but I'll talk about AI and where we are going in AI, maybe within the month. US removed 3 Indian entities, including BARC, from sanctioned list and sanctioned 11 entities. How will this benefit us, and what pound of flesh have they extracted in return? Effect on China? Look, this gives you technology, chips, and all that, sanctions, right? And it helps us quite a bit. Now, what is the pound of flesh they have extracted? NASA, ISRO, space cooperation will be huge. Energy issues will be huge. Technology will be huge. Okay, so let's not put it. China will have difficulty in getting hold of chips, getting hold of certain technologies. China doesn't have all technologies. China might have mastered EV technology and solar technology and batteries and all that, but that's it. AI, it's lagging behind. Okay, and you need. Look, I keep telling this. Today, if USA has to progress, it needs India. Without India, it will not progress. Period. Let me put it down. Okay. And that is why China is coming at us. So I'll talk of this indirect approach later. The comments are coming out of Spadex, out of China regarding our Spadex effort sound like muted battle cries. There exists the possibility of India-China war with Americans backing them again. I don't think so. I'll talk about this again in this strategy of indirect approach. Yeah, could Trump be in any way working in conjunction with India when he visits China? Let us see. Let us see how this rolls out. Too early for me to talk. That's why I didn't say anything. Yeah. For Pakistani biblical quote, body is weak, but soul was strong in hating India. I think so. They're stupid guys. That's about all. Yeah, I recently observed even Najam Sethi has become an establishment guy. He's promoting the typical disinformation that narratives that ISPR puts out to mislead their population falls out. Look, Najam Sethi was always a establishment guy. In between, when the establishment was weak and his ends were not being met, he spoke a bit. But he's 100% establishment guy. That is why he was made the head of the Pakistani cricket establishment also. So let's not have any doubts about what he is. Yeah. Namaskar, General. Whether INC or BJP government policy do not change. BJP has been more leftist than CPI, more Nehru than Nehru. The Indian deep state works in a highly covert way. I agree with you. See, there's a fundamental truth about India. What people must understand. No country, no party which rules India can afford to be rightist or capitalist. It has to be socialist. It has to be. It might be looking to be rightist, but fundamentally it is socialist. And I agree with you. The current government has been more Nehruvian than Nehru. I have said this earlier also, and I'll justify it. Okay. You just have to look at the expenditure on defense to justify it. We are now at defense expenditure allocation, which is less than what Nehru did. So, and we are more dependent on diplomacy to solve our problems, like Nehru did. So we are at risk today. We are at huge risk. And in a multi-domain scenario. And that's what I want to talk. I'll talk about it. $1 is equal to 995, and debt is 97%, and trade deficit 40 billion. How do you think economically India is still doing? Our oil price is high, and don't worry, we'll do all this nonsense. No, is all good. We will. The people of India will ensure that our consumption goes up, our economy sustains itself. We will have no problem. Don't worry. Can Islam be controlled only by authoritarian regimes? It seems the local populace gets influenced by bad actors or ideology of influence. I don't think Islam can be controlled, or authoritarian regimes can control Islam, or Islam can control authoritarian regimes. It's the people who matter, and their culture and their history which is of bigger importance. What is the role of AI in naval vessels? Identifying a threat, selecting a target, or engaging a target, or all three? It's all three. All three. Or it could be limited to self-maintenance or autonomous commandeering, all of them. I'll speak of this, Partha, in detail. I'll speak of AI in military in detail. Why are Hindus persecuted in India? Is India a hostile country? Who said, Saikat, India, Hindus are being persecuted? No, that's gone. I think what happened in Kashmir was a product of those times, right? I don't think that there's a problem anymore. Yeah, last question. Okay, the Pakistani population in Europe is the most sectarian and rabid Islamic believers who are hell-bent on converting Europe into an Islamic utopia, exactly as the one they run from. This is just amazing. I agree with you. Okay, General, could there be an India-France treaty akin to the India-Soviet Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation with regards to Chinese aggression? No, it can't be, because the French won't do it. The French have their nose in every pocket. They want to be good with China also at some level. So they'll not do it. We shouldn't trust the French, or I won't say trust, we shouldn't depend on the French beyond a point. Can you bring an economist in your discussion, or can you discuss economy? Today, military and economy are interdependent. It's not like military men can't talk. Yeah, we'll talk, but what is the subject you want me to talk on? The point is, I can talk economy, I can talk military, both. I have a fair understanding of our economy and our military. But try and let me know what is the subject you choose. You can put it in a comment. Okay? Or you send me an email. What is the subject you want me to talk on? And I'll talk on that. You don't need anyone. I'll have a program on that. Okay. Yeah, I've come to the end of today's discussion. Thanks a lot to all of you who have watched. I hope it is a bit lengthy, 1.5 hours. But what I'll do is these four small topics which I have covered, I'll tomorrow put those as 4 different videos, so that those of you who are keen can see it separately. And tomorrow we're going to talk of Trump. So a lot of things will start coming. Now I'll start the Trump series. With this, thanks a lot for attending. And I'd request all of you to come tomorrow and watch how will Trump 2.0 work out in globally and for India. We'll discuss with Brigadier Arun Sehgal, who has a fair grip on US issues, right? And we'll start at 8 o'clock. Might get delayed, but largely at 8 o'clock. And again, reminding you, those of you who are seeing this for the first time, please subscribe to Gunner Shot. You could also become members with Gunner Shot and contribute that small amount which goes to pay for the tuition of children who can't pay for themselves, girl children. And of course, don't forget to like the video. Thank you, good evening, and Jai Hind to all of you.